안녕하세요. Thank you, Coach Mike here. I'm going to answer some questions for you, and hopefully this will be able to help the people that are asking me. So let's get started, huh?
When are your best self and anti-self most active, and what do you do to encourage your best self and suppress your anti-self?
My best self, that is a good question. The question is, when is my best self and anti-self most active, and what can I do to improve my best self? So my best self is most active when I'm most at peace and when I do a series of rituals that bring out the best in myself. So for most people, it's figuring out, what is that structure? How much sleep are you getting? How are you carrying yourself? And the reason why we want to identify your best self is so that you feel really secure in your life, whether you're going on a date, whether you're going on a job interview, or whether you're just wanting to feel good about yourself. When you're being your best self, you're at your best. So for myself, what I try to do is I try to sweat at least once every day. I try to put food into my body that makes me feel good. I try to meditate and just take some quiet time. I journal. I write out a gratitude list, the things I'm most grateful for. And I'll also call other people to ask them how they're doing in their own life so that I don't get stuck in my head, which we all do from time to time. My anti-self comes out when I'm feeling stress, when I'm not getting enough sleep, or when I'm doing something that I've never done before and I feel a little bit off about it. I'm not sure what the right way is. So my best self is actually a wizard that I named Merlin, that I got a tattoo of. It's not quite done yet, but you can get some sense of it. That's my wizard, Merlin. And he's wise, he's 1,000 years old. He's that voice in the background that almost has lived many lives and gives great advice, gives great counsel. My anti-self, which I do not have tattooed on my body, because hopefully I'm having it decrease more and more, is that part of me that is off. And for me, it's that part of me that overreacts, the part that feels insecure, the part that is an ego, or that part of my brain that compares. And for everyone, it's different. I happen to name my anti-self Angelos, and I made a drawing of him, and it's a male witch. And a male witch is someone that basically kind of is off on their own, isolates, and isn't living in the abundance of life. So that is how I would answer those questions. What's the next question?
Is there any person who mentored you when you were going through difficult times?
The question is there anyone who mentored me when I was going through difficult times? The answer is, I always have a mentor. And I always try to surround myself with people that are wiser than me in certain areas, are smarter than me, are more clever. And I've learned to really do this because it enhances my life. So having mentors in our life is important, whether we are going through a rough period in our life or we're doing great, but we just want to add some more great qualities to our own life. One of my mentors that I have right now is Dr. Phil, who I'm on the Dr. Phil show, which is a big show here in the USA. And you can check out my YouTube, Coach Mike Bear, where I'm often posting videos of being on that show. So always good to have mentors, and I mentor a lot of people as well.
What would you say to people who assume that it's too difficult to live as their best self?
The question is, what would you say to people who assume that it's too difficult to live as their best self? I would say to those people, well, what is your option? And why not? Time is going to go by whether you do something or not. The year 2021 is going to happen, and life is going to continuously happen. And so it's a choice. I think there's some traps that people fall into where they're committed to not being their best self, but it is possible for anyone and everyone as long as we don't start to make some excuses.
Finally, please say a few words to people who watch your video, why they should read Best Self, what benefits they can take away from this book.
The question was, what benefits could somebody take away from reading Best Self? Best Self is a life playbook that I've developed over the past 17 years that has helped a lot of people overcome their struggles, whether somebody's really struggling with depression or anxiety or just not feeling good enough. And it's also the body of work that has helped people really go from here to here in their life. It's a great book for somebody that wants to improve their self-esteem, and it's an action book. So it's not just a book that somebody reads. When you read Best Self, you want to have a pen, you want to have a marker, you're going to be circling, you're going to be drawing. It's a very interactive book. So it's almost like we are working together with me as your life coach. Wish I knew Korean to say thank you. I'm so appreciative of you watching this video. If you do buy the book, I appreciate you as well. I hope that you always stay being your best self, and put in the comments below if you've read Best Self and what you've learned from it. Thanks. If you want to connect with me, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and the name is Coach Mike Bayer. So if you watch this video, I hope you go over to one of those platforms and say 안녕하세요.